Hey vinyl community, welcome back to a brand new episode of RB's Vinyl Corner. Today it's Friday, November 12th, 2021, and that means it's release day. To be more specific, today saw the release of a brand new Elvis Presley vinyl record. And it's one we've all been waiting for quite a while right now. It's been announced a couple of months ago, and ever since we're really highly anticipated this one. Of course, I'm talking about Elvis Back in Nashville. And in this episode, I'm going to show you everything what's inside this beautiful record. So stay tuned, let's have some fun, and see you in a bit. And here it is. Elvis is back in Nashville. Highly anticipated by the fans. Highly anticipated by me. The last couple of months when they were announcing the release of this set, they have been sporadically releasing a couple of those songs that appear on this album on Spotify. And I was immediately captured by the tremendous sounding recordings. They were really amazingly remixed, and they were really very, very promising. So I was really looking forward to the release of this beautiful album. Elvis is Back in Nashville, which obviously is a follow-up to last year's From Elvis in Nashville. Now, the From Elvis in Nashville album celebrated the 50th anniversary of his famous marathon recordings in Nashville in 1970. Now, this album collects a couple of the studio outtakes from songs that would eventually become a couple of my most favorite Elvis Presley albums ever, which are, of course, Elvis, That's the Way It Is, which was the soundtrack to the movie of the same name, and Elvis Country, two of his most finest albums in his whole career. The other album that was drawn from the recordings of these sessions was Love Letters from Elvis. But those are kind of like leftover songs, and it actually shows. I don't care too much about that album. But Country, and That's the Way It Is, are among the greatest he ever did. And even if you're not an Elvis Presley fan, but you want to have a couple of essential Elvis albums, I can highly recommend getting Elvis Country, and That's the Way It Is. Now we have the follow-up, which is Elvis is Back in Memphis. The titles of these two albums are actually kind of like a wink to albums that were recorded in 1969, which were From Elvis in Memphis and Elvis is Back in Memphis. So I think it's kind of like a cool idea to use those titles and bring them back, but then in a Nashville setting. This is recorded in 1971, so this year is actually the 50th anniversary of those recordings. What they did back in the day is they tried to do a marathon session. They tried to record a lot of songs so that they could use that material over a longer period of time, because Elvis obviously was very busy with touring, and he had his Las Vegas engagement. So to get him inside the studio was kind of like a challenge. So they wanted to do this whole week of marathon recordings so that they could use that throughout several releases. Now the idea here was to come up with a pop album, a gospel album, and a Christmas album, and with the Christmas album being a priority. So they presented him with a lot of songs that he could choose a couple from, and that would eventually spawn those three wonderful albums, which are called Elvis Now, Wonderful World of Christmas, and of course the Grammy Award winning gospel album, He Touched Me. Let's have a look at this. A lot of the stuff, like most of the stuff that is presented on this album, we can find that in its original form, so in the master releases of those are mostly collected on this great album, which is called Elvis Now. Unfortunately, this was not really a hit album back in the day. It hardly reached gold. And that basically has to do with the combination of songs on this album that just didn't really fit well together. Now, on a personal level, so speaking me personally, I actually adore this album. I love it a lot. There are a couple of fantastic songs on this one. It opens with a great country song, which is Help Me Make It Through the Night. We have a wonderful Until It's Time for You to Go, which I always considered as one of his studio highlights. We have this incredible We Can Make the Morning. I adore that song as well, and it has great lyrics. And country version of her Early Morning Rain, Sylvia, and then it also has the complete cut of I Was Born About 10,000 Years Ago, which was actually a leftover from the previous Nashville marathon sessions. And if you remember well, that's actually the song they used as inserts in between the songs on the Elvis country album. That's the song that binded all the songs together. And they chose to put that one on the Elvis Now album in its entirety. But I can understand a little bit where the criticism comes from, because as a whole album, it feels like a just randomly grabbed bunch of songs that not really have an overall theme. It's really too much of a variety. Hey Jude, a leftover from the 1969 sessions. So the conclusion you can draw from this is that most of the stuff they recorded during these Nashville sessions in 1970, where actually the focus was a lot on the gospel and on the Christmas album, and all the other songs were just a bunch of leftovers that they put together into this Elvis Now album. And also a couple of the songs that were recorded on this one also winded up on the Elvis Full album, which I discussed in detail in one of my previous videos. Now again, like I told you, I always adored Elvis Now, and that's why I also really looked forward to this one, because I was really curious about some of the outtakes from those wonderful songs. And they really came up with a very nice collection of songs for the vinyl version of this. Now just remember, there is also a 4 CD set that covers a lot more material from these sessions. I've listened to a lot of that already on Spotify. It's there. I did not get the CD set yet, but I will certainly get it. But my main priority at this moment was to get the vinyl. Let's have a look at this, all right? So the front cover, as you can see, is completely in line with the previous From Elvis in Memphis. You can see on the background, they showed this the front of the RCA Studio A in Nashville. They did the same thing on the From Elvis in Memphis. And then we have a wonderful picture here, like a Polaroid picture of Elvis with the sunglasses, representing him the way he looked in 1971. Where the previous one they showed a group photo of people involved in the recordings. And on the back we have a reel, and then of course the track listing. Now, like the previous album, they separated this one in two parts. The first LP covered the pop sides, and the second LP covered the country sides. Because remember, he was recording a pop album and a country album back in the day. Now they were focusing also on Christmas and on a gospel album. They actually divided this in 4 sections. Side A contains the pop songs. Side B contains the country folk songs. Side C, the gospel songs. And side D, the Christmas songs. Now, personally, I have never been really a big fan of Christmas songs. I hardly ever play Christmas songs. But a couple of the ones Elvis recorded are actually pretty cool. For example, I'll Be Home on Christmas Day is a fantastic blues song that I actually really dig. And it doesn't really feel like a Christmas song at all to me. So let's have a look at the track listing, the ones that I chose for the LP. Again, there are a lot more on the CD version because it's spread out over 4 CDs with like over 4.5 hours of music. But for the double LP, they have a small selection. Side A opens with I'm Leaving, and it's actually the first song they released on Spotify when they were announcing this album. That one sounds amazing. If you compare it to the original single cut, it really sounds amazing. It's Only Love, which is the second song. We Can Make the Morning, Love Me, Love the Life I Lead, which I love that song. And that one actually ended up on the full album. And then we have Take 3, which was also the master for My Way. And that was the first time he recorded My Way. The country folk side has Help Me Make It Through the Night, actually with an intro. Because remember on the album Elvis Now, it immediately starts with the vocals. But this is actually a musical intro, which is pretty cool. Early Morning Rain was actually jaw-dropping. When I heard this on this album, it was fantastic. That is an amazing mix of the song. His voice and the guitars are so nice and balanced, but it really sounds amazing. Until It's Time for You to Go, I love that song. Lady Madonna, I have no idea why that ended up on the countryside, because it's actually more like a pop song. But he never recorded it. It was more like an impromptu jam. So it's just very short. They're fooling around a little bit, and then they kick in with another great country song, which is That's the Way You Get for Loving Me. That's What You Get for Loving Me, which is also a song that ended up on the full album. And then we have a wonderful I'll Take You Home, Kathleen, which is the one that he's sitting at the piano and just playing and singing. And the mix, his voice and his is like, when you listen to this, it's like you're sitting beside him. It's really wonderful. The gospel side has Seeing is Believing, An Evening Prayer, I've Got Confidence, Put Your Hand in the Hand, He Touched Me, and Bosom of Abraham. And then we have 4 songs on the Christmas side. Only 4 you might think, but one of them is actually pretty long. If I Get Home on Christmas Day, I'll Be Home on Christmas Day, Holy Leaves and Christmas Trees. And then the last one, Merry Christmas Baby, is an unedited version which clocks over 8 minutes. And that basically rounds out the contents of this album. Again, I cannot stress enough how great the sound quality of this is. These are all remixed, newly mixed by Matt Rospang and mastered by Vic Anasini. And as you probably already know, I'm a big fan of the Vic Anasini masters. For me, they are the definitive Elvis masters. And this one actually adds a little more on it as well. It's really amazing. Now, if we open it up, we have a great picture of Elvis here entering the studio, and then another summation of all the songs, but then also with some extra credits there. They're also noting where all these songs were originally, on which albums they originally were. A real treat is the inside as well. The like in complete in line with the previous release, they also have very nice picture in the sleeve on this one. So with all the liner notes, a lot of background information here that tells you a little bit about the hows and the whys of these recordings, what they initially planned to do, how they failed doing what they actually wanted to do. Very honest, and but how everything eventually finds its way on this album, and actually the quality of this whole stuff is restored, and now it's collected in the way it actually should be presented. Elvis back in Nashville, photographs and a lot of stuff. And then of course the vinyl is black, but has this wonderful orange label that we know so well from all the Elvis releases after 1968. That's really wonderful. And then of course it's a double LP set, so we have some more stuff here, some memorabilia, and also some more pictures on the flip side of that inner sleeve. I really love what they're doing here with the inner sleeve, putting the printed inner sleeves back instead of those plain white backs that they were using a couple of years ago. And I can only hope that FTD will also pick this up again, because they were putting all the albums now in white inner sleeves. Well, in the past they would have those nice glossy printed inner sleeves. And now RCA is doing this. There's actually no excuse for FTD for not picking up that as well. So hopefully they will also do that. Speaking about FTD, very, very soon, next month, because it's actually delayed, we'll see another fantastic release of an Elvis record. Because now FTD will come up with a double album version, vinyl version of For All Time's Sakes or Raised on Rock album, which is actually a great album. And I've already seen the artwork of this, and it absolutely looks stunning. So this is a release I'm really, really, really looking forward to. And as soon as it will be released, I will get it, and I will also cover that in a beautiful video. Anyway, Elvis is back in Nashville. Guys, if you didn't already do so, order this, get it in your collection, listen to it through a headphone or a very good sound system, because it's absolutely an enormous upgrade in comparison to the original recordings. The sound is absolutely stunning. I cannot say any more about that than it's really absolutely stunning. Elvis back in Nashville. Enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to come up with another video for you and to welcome you all to a new episode of RB's Vinyl Corner. TCB, see you next time.